Holy moly. I was just looking at the notes for today's show, which I'm excited to talk about. And we're going to talk about crying and not crying, but crying as an analogy. Wait, is that what it is? Analogy? No, not an analogy. What's it called when you make letters mean something, right? I forgot. I forgot, but I'll remember. But I'm going to give you the word cry as an easy way to remember how to protect your energy and have an actual life as an entrepreneur and a business owner. So I thought cry was a really, really good way to talk about it. But I'm sitting here looking at the notes of this, and I'm looking at this being episode 45, I think. And I'm just kind of mind blown because I've wanted to have a podcast for 9 years. And the truth is, I'm addicted to talking, and I'm just addicted to talking because I've learned a lot of lessons in my life, and I've had a lot of failures and successes. I've had way more failures than successes now that I think about it. And growing up and coming up in the world the way at which I did, I had a lot of amazing people in my life that always swooped in at the right moment to kind of save me, but they were never family. My core tribe of people, the people closest to me, it wasn't really supportive, and so I kind of had to live life knowing that there was a chance every day that I was going to end up in the ER or bumps and bruises and scrapes and bloody cuts. And there were times that I was okay with it, and there were times that I struggled with it. And there were so many moments and situations that I can remember just thinking like, God, I wish somebody was here to help me, or I wish somebody told me this, or I wish I had a mentor, or I wish I had somebody that shared this. This would have saved me this. And I'm grateful and so beyond grateful for the hardships, and I'm so beyond grateful for the lessons. And truth is that I probably didn't learn the first time either, because I repeated some of those mistakes, but I have a pretty high capacity for learning, so I tend to stack it in my favor. But as I got older and I had a family and I got to this point in my life, and I'm young, I'm 36 years old. I feel like I'm 80 given the life that I've lived. Something very important, started ringing true to me, to where my life, I was producing the same results, but I had mentors and I had people and friends and a tight knit family in my corner that could see me, see my greatness, see my potential, and help me navigate, pitfalls, and help me navigate things that I definitely couldn't see coming. And, the analogy that I always use is from my dear friend Jeff Spencer, and he's a absolute beast when it comes to coaching and mindset. He's an Olympian, cyclist. He's responsible for over 100 gold medals with his coaching, like Olympic gold medals. And one thing that I always talk about all the time is that, you know, you can't name me one Olympian gold medalist that doesn't have a coach. And the truth is that they don't need a coach to perform at, like, to be that good, to have that skill, to have that drive, right? They need a coach to help them navigate the things that they can't see. And coaches are there to be like, hey, turn left, turn right, don't hit that, pothole, just like navigators in rally car racing. And I think it's this really important concept because as entrepreneurs, what I've seen in just my short time as an entrepreneur, 12, I mean, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 13, but we'll say since I was doing it and making a living, would be about 12, 13 years. Um, I've learned a lot and I've seen a lot. And one of the things that I think is dangerous is like it's this echo chamber, right? Where we share wins and we share our life and the way in which we want people to see it. But then when we're struggling, when things are hard, we're kind of in silence and we're like hoping that we can grind our way through the resistance or grind our way through the answer, or grit it out, and people be like, hustle harder. Well, like, screw that. Like, at no way, shape, form, or capacity should life or business be a struggle. It shouldn't be like, oh, I have to suffer to have X, or I have to hurt so bad to have Y. That's toxic thinking. And it's self sabotage, and it's really degrading to ourselves. And I did this for years. There's a really good book recommendation on this, by the way, called The Little Book of Clarity by Jamie Smart. So if you're an audiobook listener, it's probably 2.5 hours. I'd listen to it repeated once a month. If you're a reader, I read really slow, but probably like 4 hours or so for me to read it, but I highly recommend it. And so the reason I'm saying this is because all of us are surrounded by access to information, resources, and experience. And when we know how to protect our energy and create containers in our life we know how to look at the game and figure out where we lean into or where we look for support to help us navigate the road ahead, right? And so if you ever go to a new place, and this was before Google Maps and iPhones, right? You had two options when you visited somewhere. You could get a map, or you could ask a local, or you could get both. And so what we used to do is buy a map. We'd ask the local, like, hey, what are these spots? And they would literally navigate us to the place where we wanted to go or the best way to get there. And that's the power of community. That's the power of this information. That's the power of, being an entrepreneur. It's the power of having a tight-knit group. That's the power of my mastermind, or the power of our Facebook group, or the power of this podcast. And so I was sitting here reflecting on why I do this. And I genuinely, in my heart, know that I could work every day, have as much money as I wanted, the family I want, but I would feel empty because I miss community and I miss people. And so I'm just grateful and humble that I'm recording this episode and sharing this, which is all applicable to the episode. And so for you listening, if you're still listening to this point, which I hope you are, I just want to say thank you. Or if you're watching this, you see me on video, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for listening. And I would love it if you shared this with your friends. Send these podcasts to your friends, your family, your coworkers. I'm going to keep giving away everything I can, writing massive outlines for these episodes. We have the next 50 shows planned, and I basically intend to give away every single thing that I can so you can listen to a podcast and put it into practice in your life or business, and then decide, like, hey, I want to be in your world. I want to come have dinner with you at our mastermind. I want to come do an event. I want to come, join your group. I want to do whatever. But either way, I just love every one of you. And it means the world to me. So thank you. And this leads into today's episode perfectly, which is about protecting your energy and having a life. And you might have heard this in the intro, but I tend to summarize the intros differently. But really, the things that we hear all the time are like hustle, grind, work your face off. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Business is a long game. Life is a long game. I watch people live their life, and they're making decisions like, yeah, this for right now, and not seeing the third world effects that come, or the third level effects that come 6 years from now. And like, yes, we have to live our life and be in the moment, but we also have to remember that, like, we got one body, one life. And in business, we're not here forever. We don't just get to start over and go back to when we were 20 or when we were 30 or when we were 40. It's like, yeah, we can start over, but we're still progressing down this linear track of what we use time. And to think that, like, I'm going to hustle and grind and work my face off until I bleed and I resent my business for 15 years so then I can spend a year living in the results and pretending I like it before I then start over again is crap. Business is a long game, and it's a marathon with a few short sprints. But if you try to sprint the whole marathon, you're going to be on the ground repairing damage before we ever get started. And so today, I want to talk about how to play the long game by protecting your energy and creating a life you love to live. And this, in my opinion, is probably the most important episode yet. And so you're going to hear me use the word containers. And by the way, for you listening, I'm getting coffeeed up right now. It's early in the morning, and I just felt like talking to you. And so that's what that lovely sound is. And we don't edit that out, but that's the sound of a delicious honey cinnamon latte with almond milk. Yep, a little bit of honey, some cinnamon with some almond milk, and some coffee. It's delicious. So thank you for sharing your coffee with me. So if you're drinking a cup of coffee, cheers, take a sip. We're on the same page. So we're going to talk about creating containers in your life. And so the way that I think about this, I want you to use the word cry, and whatever that is. One of you send me a message and tell me what it is. I'm having a brain fart, right? So cry, and cry stands for something. So C stands for creating containers in your life and business. R stands for limiting reactivity, and Y stands for honoring yourself. And so those are the 3 steps to protecting your energy and having a life that you love. And containers are a very, very important aspect of this. And I'm going to break this down for you, okay? So when you think about containers, what you're thinking about is creating pockets of non-negotiables in your life and in your business, right? So, for example, if you have to have your kids at school by 7 a.m. every day, we want them to be on time. That's actually a container that the school creates that you choose to fill by going to that school, which means you have a nighttime routine, probably a morning routine. That's technically a container. You operate within that, and when you fall out of that container, things don't feel good. They affect everything else in your day, right? I'm late. It leads into this. Now I'm late for work. Got into a traffic jam. The kids forgot their lunch, right? You get the fallout of that. And so containers are impeccably important, right? We can have containers everywhere. Containers for gym, with our nutrition, with our time, with our energy, with how we communicate, with how we message, with how we do meetings. But you have to create containers in your life. And the most important part as a human, but we'll say entrepreneur here, is having the discipline to honor those containers. See, people who are great don't perform when they feel like it. They don't perform when it feels good. They perform regardless with the discipline to hold that container. And I'm not talking about like waking up at 3 a.m. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about having integrity with ourselves, because at the beginning of the day, or at the foundation of everything, the only relationship we have is ourselves. And our level of integrity with ourselves dictates our results in the world. And so if we're like, yeah, I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. every day, and then for 3 weeks we don't. We get up at 6:30, but we tell everybody we're getting up at 6 a.m. We're just lying to ourselves. Of course, we're lying to the world, but we're lying to ourselves. The first thing we do every day is set ourselves up to fail, because we give up on the thing that we said was important to us. And so it's either not important to us or it is. And we need to make whatever decisions we have to make, going to bed earlier, turning off Netflix, putting the phone away, so that we can wake up excited and ready to capture that day. But those containers start by knowing who you are, what's important to you, what fills your tank, what drains your tank, and designing your day, which I cover in an episode in one of our trainings. And I'm potentially thinking about doing a podcast on this, but I got to get a guest. But it's about a year away for him to do this podcast. But you have to design your day. And then when you create these containers, you have to honor them with integrity and discipline. So like for me, I have containers, right? So no matter what, my morning is spent with my family and children. And so depending on the state of the world right now, most of the time that means I'm with my family till about this time in the morning, which is about 8:30 a.m. And so then I have a container that says my work time is from 9 to 6 p.m. every day. But my 8:30 to 9 time is my thinking time, where I plan my day, and it's a non-negotiable. I don't start working unless my day is planned, and there's days I plan it faster and I get it done. And so for me, my work ends at 6 p.m., which means the laptop is closed and the office is locked, and that's a non-negotiable. My phone doesn't go on. I don't have apps on my phone to access my work stuff, which means now I have to go back to 5:30 and I have to start my wrap up at 5:30, so there's no bleed over and carryover, right? And so that's an example of a container for me. And so that means at 5:30 an alarm goes off on my phone and it says wrap up, plan the day. And I covered this in a previous episode. Actually, I think the episode before this on project management, which you should go listen to, because I wrap my day and I set it up for the next morning. And then work ends at 6 p.m. Non-negotiable. Laptop off, computer off, office locked, and I'm out, right? And so same thing in the morning. I'm like, hey, tomorrow morning I want to start working at 8:30 for my thinking time, which means I'm going to be with my children, because my son wakes up at 6 a.m. from 6 a.m. till 8:30. But I want to move, meditate, and read before I get up with my children. So I have designed my day and been in integrity. And so depending on that, it's either a 4 a.m. workout, or a 4 a.m. wake up, a 4:30 wake up, a 5 wake up. And here's the thing. If I'm going to bed and I'm struggling to set that alarm, and I'm like, I'm not going to get up, I have to have an honest conversation with myself. And it's like, okay, why do you not want to get up? Right? Is it because you don't really want to do this? Is it not aligned? And I have to check in with myself. And sometimes it's, I'm tired. I don't think it's, and there's other times where I have to honor myself. It's like, no, I'm exhausted. That's not going to support my day. I'm going to get up at 5:30 and meditate, and I'll move my walk until lunch. But everything is done with intentionality, and it's a non-negotiable. There are no accidents or, oh, I forgot, or I made an adjustment. Just like if we expect somebody to come over to our house for dinner, and we're like, hey, dinner's at, Thanksgiving, dinner starts at 2:30. Like, you spend 8 hours cooking and 2 days prepping. You're not going to be thrilled if people walk in at 3:30 and 4 and 4:30. You want them there at 2:30. And so we have to honor our containers with ourselves, but these protect our time and day. And I'm giving you another example of a container. You're working. You work in an office, right? You're the boss, you're the decision maker, or you have a team. You have to put containers. Hey, I do no communication with anybody from 8 a.m. till 10 a.m. You put Slack on Do Not Disturb. You don't answer your phone, and everybody knows. If they reach out to you, you're not going to get an answer that time. And then you might have an escalation procedure if there's a dead-on emergency that one person can send you a text or call you with a specific thing. But other than that, you have to create containers. Just like when you go into work, like, hey, I'm going to go do my email. Well, you have to do only email. No social, no Facebook, no nothing. You have to block that time, either use the Pomodoro technique or a countdown timer or a calendar block, and you have to create a tight container That's the only thing that you're doing. And when you are done, you intentionally move out of it, or you get to a point where you're like, I'm going to do this for 30 minutes no matter what. If I finish early, I'm going to take a break. You have to create containers everywhere, communication containers, management containers, meeting containers, productivity containers, workout containers. I even have containers for my shower. So like when I shower every day, I know that there's a part of me that loves being in the shower, but I also love killing time and just sitting there for the wrong reasons. And so I created a playlist of songs for an actual shower routine for me, of a song for me to meditate to. Like I love to just meditate in the shower for like 60 seconds. A song for me to like wash my hair, wash my body, shave my head, shave my face. And then I end every shower with a cold shower, and I have a 3-minute and 23-second song for my cold shower. So I just put my music on in the bathroom, and I basically get coached through my shower, but it's intentional, it's done with purpose, and it sets my day up to win. So you are going to want to create containers, and you're going to want to make sure that you're designing your day and your life with intentionality in your business and in your life. And so that is the C of CRY. Create containers, okay? Now we're going to get into the R, which is limit reactivity. And this is so important for humans in general. We live in this state of distraction, pattern interrupt, right? Facebook notification, social notification, text notification, the news, the boom, ba-boom, 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 the office. People come in. They come into my office in the middle of meetings. They, blank, 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 blank. It's loaded with distractions. There is only one way to win in life and business, and it is to live in a proactive state, which means you are initiating all actions and in choices with intentionality. So you need to turn off all notifications on your phone. I don't have one on. I don't even have social media apps on my phone. None. I don't have anything that comes into my phone. Just like even Jesse in my mastermind, Jesse Krieger, his phone is on do not disturb 24/7. And then he has time blocked where he checks his phone and checks his phone. And of course, if my wife or kids need me, they're emergency contacts. So no matter what they do, it comes through. But then all the other mundane stuff, hey, what's up, man? Like, here's a GIF. Here's me distracting myself. Hey, I'm trying to distract you. I love you. That can't get into my container. So I have to limit my ability to get pulled out of my container, because it's really easy to fall into distraction. I love it more than anybody else. I will go down a YouTube or Wikipedia roll, and I'll be 8 hours in before I even realize it. So the R is limiting reactivity. Turn off all the notifications on your phone. Turn off all the notifications on your computer. Close your inbox until you are opening it. Do not be checking your inbox every 5 minutes. Give yourself a 24-hour cooling off period before responding to anything that causes emotional reaction. So for me, like, the team will be like, hey man, this isn't working. We want to turn this ad off. We want to do this. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll get back to you in 24 to 48 hours. Just leave it for now. So I'm not making a reactive decision. I take that, I triage it, and then I put it into my calendar or into a container for me to think about it, check it, test it, and then trust my feelings, and then give a response. And so then have an hour of non-electronic time for the first hour after waking up minimum, and before you're going to sleep. And so when I was learning the power of this, some of you know this because you followed me for a long time, I created a morning routine where the first 4 hours of my day was spent in solitude. No human interaction, no words spoken, no digital, no nothing. It was me, my thoughts, movement, like walking outside in nature, or books. And that's it. Not my family, not my kids, nothing. I would get up, and I did this extremely, and I would get plenty of sleep. I'd get up at 3 a.m. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and I wouldn't see my family till 7. But that first 4 hours of my day was spent in solitude and silence, no electronics. That was my thinking time, my grounding time, my getting in, because I wanted to test this to an extreme. And Keith Cunningham calls this thinking time inside the book, The Road Less Stupid. And it's an amazing, amazing thing. And that's where all of our clarity comes from. So to limit your reactivity, you need to schedule time in your day that you are just you. And that doesn't mean like I'm binging on Netflix or doing it. Like, you're just doing something that's either allowing you to relax, get connected to yourself, get connected to your body, your brain, your thoughts, or fill it with something positive, reading books, going for a walk, absorbing nature, maybe listening to some positive music, things along those lines. And so to limit reactivity, you want to turn off all the notifications on your phone, institute some containers and discipline to have cooling off periods to where you're not trained, and your team and everybody else isn't trained in your life. Like, oh, I sent him an email, he'll get back to me in 5 minutes. Like, I think it's hilarious when somebody sends me an email at like 5:30 p.m. and I don't respond until noon the next day. And by the time I respond again, hey man, did you get my email? Yeah, I got your fucking email. Like, what do you think this is? Like, you didn't walk in my front door. Like, can you imagine, like, if the people that emailed us or texted us treated us the same in our house? Like, we're at our family dinner or we're on a date with our wife. They walk in a dinner. Hey, I texted you. Hey, I texted you. Hey, you didn't respond. Like, get away from me. Like, get away from me. We are in charge of our day and we have to control it. And we have to limit the things that come in because we are training people how to communicate with us, our team, our staff, our agencies. And I love people. I love people. But I also have to love myself. And I am not on beg and call for anybody except myself. I answer to myself and my family. And that's it. So yes, I love you. And I'm glad that you email me at 5:30 and I will get back to you. I will get back to you and it fits into my container and I have the time and energy to put into it so I can give you the best of me. That might take 2 days and that's okay. Nobody says emails have to be responded to in 34 seconds or texts in, 10 minutes. And I get this because I'll text my wife like, why didn't you text me back? Why didn't you text me back? I'm like, what am I doing? Of course, she's out riding horses. She's out doing her thing. She's taking care of our family. She's working for us. Like, there's a whole lot of stuff wrapped into this, okay? So the C is create containers in your life. The R is limit reactivity. And then the Y is honor yourself. And this one's the most important part, but I'm going to go through it fast because this is for you to come up with. You have to take breaks throughout the day. You have to, once an hour, take a deep intentional breath. I have an alarm on my phone that goes off. And every hour it goes off and it plays the same song, Heroes by Peter Gabriel. And every hour it goes off and it says, breathe, mother effer. And it's a reminder for me to take 2 deep belly breaths to get really grounded and connected into what I'm doing. And there's times where I find myself like I didn't realize what I was doing, how deep I was in, but I had to take care of myself. And so I pattern interrupt myself. It's not good for us to sit in a chair for 9 hours straight and knock it up. It's not good for us to sit in a chair, drink energy drinks and coffee and grind out emails and grind out funnels, because then what we get is we create financial results and a broken body that has to use that money to then heal and recover it because we've created something that we don't want. And there is no like, oh, I'll do this when. That's toxic thinking. Oh, I'll get healthy when. I'll sleep when. Right? And the worst one, and I used to say this, I'll sleep when I'm dead. No, you're going to die because you don't sleep. Sleep 6 to 8 hours a night. Schedule reflection time and sit in silence. Take bubble baths. Honor yourself. Take breaks. Go for walks. Do movement. Smile. Laugh. Like, the reason I love TikTok is because I'll take a break every couple hours and I'll go dance just to get my body moving and to get happy and to get grounded and honor myself as a free form of expression unattached to results. We have snakes. My wife and daughter went to the pet store with my son to get him a fish and a hamster, and then they came home with a beautiful Mojave pied ball python, which I then somehow fell in love with, and then we ended up with a red-tailed boa as my wife's snake, who is only 3 feet, and she's so tiny, like 100 grams, but she's going to end up 50 pounds and 8 feet. And then I have my own ball python, and I love them because every time I take a break, I go check on them. I check their temperature, their humidity. I pet them. I hold them. No phone, no distraction. I'm just giving love to something that I love and honor that really can't love me back just by not biting me, and they don't. They're amazing pets. But that's me connecting and honoring myself. And so you have to figure out what fills your tank, what honors you, how you honor yourself. But I will tell you that none of us can win and succeed from an empty tank. We can't give from an empty tank. We can't create from an empty tank. And our customers sure as shit can't trust our marketing messages or videos or ads or products when the person delivering the message is exhausted, tired, cranky, empty tanked, disconnected, and running themselves ragged and not being the example of what we teach or what we sell. Right? And I watch people all the time. They write fitness programs, they write supplements, and they do it and they look a certain way. And I'm like, yeah. And you drink like 6 sodas a day and you don't work out, you don't even walk and move. And that's why people don't trust you. Like, leadership starts by being the example and then sharing what it took to get there. And like, I'm still so small in my journey of where I'm going. Like, yeah, I've been doing this for 12 years, right? And I've been doing personal development for maybe 8 and 7. And I feel like I'm 2% of the way there. And I feel like there's 1,000 holes in my bucket. Like, sometimes I even struggle recording podcasts because I'm like, oh, I do that, but I don't do it well enough. It's missing some intention and discipline. I got to turn it up a level. I got to turn it up a level for me to be the example and to be congruent. And that all starts by honoring and loving myself. And so I want to go over these again because this is really important on how you protect your energy and you create containers to have a life, because you have to create the space. The space isn't going to be created once you accomplish something. That's toxic thinking. So the two books I think I recommended that I really want you to check out are The Little Book of Clarity by Jamie Smart and The Road Less Stupid by Keith Cunningham. And so I want you to use the word cry to remember this or come up with a new one. C, create containers in your life. R, limit reactivity. And Y, honor yourself. So here's what I want you to do. So if you're not in our Facebook group yet, I want you to get in there because I'm going to have you do some stuff with us and I have a big surprise coming up. Okay. And we have some big drops coming into that group and things that we're still sharing with you guys. So get into the Facebook group. The easiest place to find it is on Facebook. Just search Relationships Beat Algorithms. But you know me, that's not easy enough. So just go to mindofgeorge.com and it's linked right on that page for you to come into the group. We would love to have you. And here's why. Our 50th episode is only 5 episodes away. And so to celebrate it, we are bringing 5 of you heart-centered business owners, right? And by heart-centered, like I'm not being woo-woo. What I'm basically saying is that you care about yourself, your team, and your customers. And you're not in this to be a snake in the grass. So heart-centered really scares people away, which is why I use it, right? But like I swear, I'm a truck driver, right? I have tattoos. I have all these things, right? But under it, I love people. I want to genuinely help people. So let me say this again. Our 50th episode is coming up soon, and we're celebrating by bringing 5 of you amazing people that love your business, your customers, and yourself, and the results you create for them from our audience, so from you, to do a live recording of the 50th episode. So we're going to have experts in different areas and live hot seats where we can break down successful businesses and show how to apply the principles of those businesses to companies of any size. So it's going to be super fun. I'm excited. I'm going to have some of my intelligent friends that charge absorbent amounts of money to talk to people, but they owe me favors. They're going to come on and we're going to put some of you in hot seats and we're going to let you ask some of the leading experts in the world on like what they should do or what you would do or what they would recommend or what coaching they would give you on your business. And all the information about how we're getting you on the call and how we're handling this is inside of the Facebook group. So make sure you're there. It's going to be fun. It's going to be premiering here on this show, on the Mind of George show, on Monday, July 13th. So keep listening for updates. And if it's after July 13th and you're listening to this, well, now you can go find that episode. It's going to be episode 50. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go create containers in your life, and I want you to tell me. Tag me on Instagram. Send me a DM. Like, please just send me a DM. I'm George Bryan on Facebook. It's the best place to send me a message, right? I read every one of them and respond to every one of them. But I want to know, where have you not made containers in your life and it's been affecting you? Where are you going to create those containers in your life so that you can have the life and business of your dreams and actually live the life that you want to live now versus thinking that it's going to come down the road? Because here's the secret. That's just moving the finish line and it's never going to get there. So you have to do it now and you have to live from that place. And that's the best way to win in business and life. So remember the word cry. Create containers, limit reactivity, and honor yourself. So without further ado, I'm going to go finish my coffee, go for a walk. I almost said something, play with my snakes, but that sounded bad. I'm going to go feed the snakes and check on them, let my wife know that they're good. And I think I'm going to go record another episode. So have an amazing day. Remember that relationships always beat algorithms, and I'll see you guys soon.